Monaco, Molly McGrath, joins us in a moment for South Carolina, Southern Cal, and I know your eyes are on the Gamecocks offense.
They absolutely are, because Dawn Staley was not happy with the way that her team played on the offensive end of the floor, particularly in the first half of that first-round game. Even though they scored 103 points, even though they had the largest margin of victory in NCAA tournament history for South Carolina, she wants her team to continue to improve on that end. She knows it's going to take a different level. Establish the interior, get ball reversals, work to get the best shot on the floor.
They are the fourth of the 4 1 seeds, and they entered this tournament, Molly McGrath, after a convincing loss.
Yeah, that's right. Joyce Edwards told us that South Carolina is still playing through the pain and anger of losing in that SEC tournament title game, and it's pushing them to play even harder and make a statement. And that statement is, we are still South Carolina. We're a winning program, and the expectation is a national championship. Mike?
Molly, they've got 2 of the last 4 national titles, and they are trying to get to another Sweet 16. Continues 3 more games still to close out the night. Medina Okat on the interior, walks with it, and a traveling violation to begin. Let's look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Capital One. And for USC, they were just talking about it in the studio, Stephanie. Jazzy Davidson was so good. Kara Dunn was really good late. And then who else steps up offensively for the Trojans?
Yeah, I think it's got to be Kennedy Smith. I think she's got to be somebody that's an offensive option. We know she can lock it down on the defensive end of the floor. But my question for Southern California is, do they have enough offensive weapons for this high-powered South Carolina team?
A team for South Carolina that scores 87 points per game. Joyce Edwards, 2nd-team All-American. Raven Johnson, a 3rd-team All-American. And here is Edwards, who had it roll off. Okat cleans it up. And rebounding is going to be a huge story tonight as well.
And it was one of Lindsey Gottlieb's concerns. The last time these 2 teams met, South Carolina had 21 offensive rebounds. You cannot afford to give a team like South Carolina multiple possessions.
Plus 24 for South Carolina. Back in the middle of November, they played at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, a game that was branded as the battle for the real SC. It was a top 10 matchup at the time. South Carolina won it by 17, but it was a 2-point game at halftime. And USC tasked with a huge opponent tonight in a 1-seed South Carolina.
When South Carolina held USC to 1 of 14 from the 3-point line, Dawn Staley said that is something that concerns her. They cannot afford to let Southern California get going from the 3-point line.
Leah Samuels at the control. 2nd straight start for her with London Jones coming off the bench. Kennedy Smith, you mentioned she's got to score it. 11.5 points per game, but missed it in close. As you check out the Gamecocks starters, high-powered lineup. Tanaya Latson, last year's leading scorer in the country at Florida State. And then Raven Johnson, her final game here at Colonial Life Arena across 5 seasons.
2 contested shot attempts, 2 offensive rebounds. Lindsey Gottlieb not going to be happy with her team in that area.
Here's Jazzy Davidson. She was phenomenal in just about every way in her NCAA tournament debut Saturday against Clemson. Dealing with the pressure defense, turned it over.
Hey, how about this crowd really loving the one-on-one pressure defense. Tanaya Latson giving it to him the first couple of possessions. Raven Johnson that possession. Look, when you play for Dawn Staley, defense is not optional.
Really pleased with their defensive efforts Saturday against the 16 seed in Southern. SWAC champions for a 32-win South Carolina team with just the 3 losses this year. Edwards draws the assignment on Kara Dunn to begin. A double came from Davidson, but Edwards kept it alive. Swing it around, Raven Johnson. Can't hit. Laura Williams the rebound for Southern Cal. Samuels can really push tempo for the women of Troy. Dunn, defended well by Tessa Johnson. Williams got behind Okat, but missed it. The lid's still on the bucket for USC. Latson running. Edwards tried to save it, and coming right into our kitchen at midcourt. It goes back to USC.
Well, where USC is going to find success is in transition. That means you have to get a defensive board. You have to be able to get out. They might not be able to turn South Carolina over at the same rate they're able to turn some other teams over. But if South Carolina forces them to play in the quarter court, USC is going to have a problem.
That's why you feel like you got to get stops, you got to get rebounds so you can score getting out and
So
running.
you can run. And you see Okot's going to stand right in the middle of the lane. She's going to play center field.
0 of 3 shooting, the start for...
Like right away. You see the mismatch. Cara Dunn is going to be tasked with handling Joyce Edwards. Joyce Edwards going to the back to the basket.
Samuel's looking for somewhere to go. Kennedy Smith, former 6th overall recruit, left her jumper short, and then Williams commits a foul on Tessa Johnson.
Multiple times down the floor, Joyce Edwards getting those touches on the interior, going to work against Cara Dunn down low. That time the double team doesn't come. She has one-on-one, and she takes advantage.
We were kind of wondering at shoot-around today who would guard Joyce Edwards, and they do start Cara Dunn on her.
Yeah, I think Cara Dunn can guard her from a mobility standpoint, but certainly gives up a little bit from a size standpoint. I think Joyce Edwards understanding right now, I have an opportunity close to the rim to get position, and if a double team comes, and she gets a tough matchup, if you're going to play behind in the post, if you're going to allow Joyce Edwards to get those touches and back down, at some point I think USC is probably going to change that.
Illegal screen set by Vivian Iwuchukwu.
And you see this possession again, you get it just time off the block, but what does Joyce Edwards do? She goes to backing her down. Again, the double team is not coming, and she can just elevate right over the top.
Yeah, so Cara Dunn started on Edwards, like we said. We asked about Kennedy Smith, and Lindsey Gottlieb said to us, well, we really want ball pressure on Raven Johnson, so they deemed a premier defender and Smith more valuable on Raven. Start for South Carolina. Smith, baseline jumper, no. Loose ball, and Raven Johnson in a battle for it, earns possession for South Carolina.
Dawn Staley said, we want USC taking tough twos, and right away forcing Kennedy Smith to be the primary shot taker. Cara Dunn, 1 shot attempt, Jazzy Davidson, none thus far.
USC 0 of 5 from the floor, 3 turnovers, and then for South Carolina, 3 offensive rebounds. Latson sets up Edwards, spinning on Dunn. Edwards got her own miss, and will go to the line. You said it, post feeds early and often for South Carolina to Joyce Edwards.
Yeah, I think it's tough when you're playing behind in the post with Joyce Edwards. Her athleticism, her leaping ability, her ability to handle the basketball. It's one thing if she's facing up and she's attacking one-on-one. It's another thing if she's getting easy post entry passes or if she's backing you down.
Well, and with the matchup we talked about with Cara Dunn, Dunn's got 2 fouls here and has to sit. And again, that's the second leading scorer at 15.5 per game, coming off 22, 11 in the 4th quarter Saturday against Clemson.
And a player that's shooting at 38% from the 3-point line, so somebody who can stretch the floor.
So Joyce Edwards to the line, sophomore from Camden, South Carolina, 20 points per game, 6 rebounds per game. We told you second team All-American. Shanae was talking about it in the studio, her efficiency on Saturday against Southern. And building off what was a really good freshman year into stardom as a sophomore. Miriam Dowda goes over the back and gets saddled with the foul. So Dunn on the bench, mentioned nothing yet for Jazzy Davidson in terms of even shot attempts. What does this possession need to look like for the women of Troy?
Well, I think the ball's got to get side to side, get some ball reversals, get some player movement. Again, you see the matchup. Raven Johnson is going to be tasked with guarding Jazzy Davidson. I like it when they cut her.
She went backdoor on Johnson, who had the hard denial, but Davidson missed it.
Ball pressure, entry passes aren't easy. You can see they're guarding whoever the 5 player is. Miriam Dowda right now just sitting in the paint, playing center field.
Jones had it ripped away by Latson. Gamecocks on the break. Latson coughed it up to London Jones. Finally, Southern Cal's on the board. South Carolina in pursuit of what would be a 6th straight Final Four. They're a 1 seed for the 6th year in a row. Edwards kept it and backs it out for Tanaya Latson. Latson had it poked away. Good defense by Jazzy Davidson. And a foul goes against South Carolina, who's had a fabulous start to this game. Zeros. So that gets wiped away. We go to overtime. And Jazzy Davidson there was awesome.
She was terrific. And it's one of those plays that, you hate to see it in like that, but certainly glad the officials went to the monitor, got the right call, and Jazzy Davidson just took over in overtime. Back-to-back threes. I mean, you see it in the numbers right there. First freshman with 35 and 5 in a debut in the last 25 years. I mean, this is a special young talent. Held to single digits, 8 points the first time these two teams met. One of only 2 single-digit games she's had all season long. But the growth of this young lady in this program and to step up in that moment was huge for USC.
Lindsey Gottlieb said afterward, she's running out of adjectives to describe Jazzy Davidson. London Jones a miss, and South Carolina by 11, and they've got Maddie McDaniel running the point in off the bench. Averages 21 minutes per game and didn't play Saturday due to sickness, so it's good to see the one they call Mouse, Maddie McDaniel, is back and available, playing some minutes off the bench for Dawn Staley. Send it over to Molly.
Yeah, Mike, USC's head coach Lindsey Gottlieb spent a lot of time in that last break going over their defensive spacing and being in the right gaps. And she also stressed no more offensive rebounds for South Carolina. I need to see more toughness on the glass, and she's hoping to get some momentum for their offense on the perimeter, especially drawing up some plays for Jazzy Davidson to try to get her going.
Still just a one-shot attempt from Jazzy Davidson, and then it's the 4 offensive rebounds for South Carolina.
I mean, I think it's tough. South Carolina's a long team. They're very athletic.
Isn't shot it great from 3, but she does seem more comfortable in the mid-range.
And Kinley Smith is the one we talked about. Needs to be an important part on the offensive end for USC.
The SEC's best three-point shooters on the board.
And that was a tough contest. I mean, Tessa Johnson just coming up. We talked on Saturday about her needing to be more aggressive, hunting her shots early. She knocks that one down.
South Carolina runs, and Johnson had it roll off. Edwards, another offensive rebound. That rolled off, and then it got McKeer saves it. 3 looks at it for the Gamecocks, and Joyce Edwards will go to the line. That's got to be exasperating for Lindsey Gottlieb.
It absolutely is, because these USC players just turning around, not making contact. But watch this, Tessa Johnson uses the ball screen. It's a late switch, but it's still a good contest. She just uses the little sidestep. I mean, she makes it look so easy. Her shot is pure for sure.
Top 10 in the country in three-point percentage, 44%. And I know she's one of your favorites. With her game, her shooting, and also just kind of the energy she brings.
She brings energy. I mean, you see it in practice. She's always got a smile on her face. She's bringing a lot of energy to her teammates. Very positive voice on the floor.
Ken Mulkey famously asked earlier this year, who can guard Tessa? Chloe Kitts was rocking that shirt in pregame warm-ups for South Carolina here tonight. Gamecocks by 16. The junior off the bench from Lithuania, her first year of college ball with the Trojans.
And that was good work right there. Little drop pass into the pocket. Probably the easiest shot USC's had up to this point.
And then a foul comes away from the ball against Southern Cal. So that's 2 on Gerda Roshatite. Goes to the bench. Hey, coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship continues on CBS, TBS, TNT, and TruTV. For game times and networks, go to ncaa.com. Joyce Edwards to the bench, Jazzy Davidson there as well for USC with a minute plus to go in the first. And now South Carolina's working on its bench right here. Miriam Dowda back into the game as they get the subs squared away. And Dowda to the free throw line. One of the beloved teammates on this team, Senior from Bentonville, Arkansas, her second year with the program after transferring in from Arkansas. Really respected figure. Dawn Staley says just a high character individual. And knocks down both. Medina Okot at 6'6" returns for the Gamecocks. So a little more offensive traction here for Southern Cal, trying to build on this at the end of the first. And Kara Dunn in the game with her 2 fouls. Kennedy Smith draws a foul against Okot.
I love when South Carolina gets to their switching and you see Medina Okot at 6'6" get in the stance and defend a guard one-on-one.
She is nimble. There's so much upside with 11 in the white. Samuels off the bounce. Couldn't get it to go and cleared by Okot. Raven Johnson knifed into the paint and backs it out for Tessa Johnson. 20 seconds separating game and shot clocks.
That's what happens when you have to help on a ball screen. You get a commitment, it opens up an offensive rebound opportunity.
It's 11 second chance points for South Carolina.
USC in a little bit of drop coverage. Okot comes up. Williams has to commit to the help right here. She's still playing a little bit, but then look, she's ball watching. And I think that's the frustration for Lindsey Gottlieb, is that her team is just turning around and looking for the ball. You're not going to out-jump South Carolina. You have to be committed to putting a body on somebody.
Final 6 seconds in the first quarter. Tessa Johnson off the bounce. Strong take. Okot another offensive rebound, but cannot trigger to close out the first quarter. That is dominant from South Carolina.
21 offensive rebounds. I mean, this is a South Carolina team that has positional size. They have length at every position. They do a great job of attacking the offensive glass. Average over 13 a ball game. And if you're USC, you've got to be really committed and disciplined to putting a body on someone and boxing out. And you can live with the shots that South Carolina's getting, but the missed shots, they can't afford to be 80% offensive rebounds.
Jazzy Davidson is scoreless in this game for a Trojans team that only has 2 rebounds in total. We get a held ball that'll bring it back with South Carolina. And Jazzy Davidson trying to find her rhythm early on. You mentioned that meeting back in the middle of November was one of her 2 low-scoring games of the season. Didn't get into double figures, and she's at the top of everyone's scouting report now.
Yeah, she sure is, and I think Lindsey Gottlieb is going to have to really manage what her team is running on the offensive end. And right now, a lot of over-dribbling, a lot of one-on-one. That's something that this South Carolina defense can pressure you into doing. But to get some player movement, to get some screening, to get some ball reversals, and hopefully open up higher percentage looks.
Kennedy Smith really trying to apply some pressure on the ball, too, with Raven Johnson. Okot underneath. And a foul is called against Southern Cal. Get that on Kennedy Smith. That's her first.
Well, good execution right here by South Carolina. They know that this is going to be a switch, and you get an opportunity in that low ball screen, in that switch, to really clear it out, to get Medina Okot a touch.
And how about the impact Medina has had so far? Senior at 6'6", out of Kenya. The Mississippi State transfer was second-team SEC. Top rebounder in the conference, 13 and 11 per game, and she's got 8 already.
Yeah, talk about a player who's continued to improve throughout the course of the season. Dawn Staley said, she just really, when she got here, didn't understand what it meant to be coached like this and held to this standard. Last 10 games, she's had 8 double-doubles, averaged 14 points and almost 13 rebounds. Yeah, Kennedy Smith right now has been a primary playmaker. She's scoring on her own. That time she created an opportunity for Williams.
Smith known for her work defensively. She was on the Big Ten all-defense team. Agat Makir backed it out for Okot. Raven Johnson. McKeer gets bumped by Jazzy Davidson, and that's 2 on the superstar freshman, just like Kara Dunn in this first half for the Trojans. Trojans are just going to have to play through it as Davidson stays in. South Carolina subs. Joyce Edwards back into the game, and the 6'7" French freshman Alicia Cornebis into the game, bottom right of your screen.
And going right back to Joyce Edwards in the post-up.
Two points away from 1,000 for her career. Jazzy Davidson, tough shot, no. And it'll stay at this end of the floor.
Raven Johnson, 5th year here in the South Carolina uniform, playing in this gym for what is going to be the last time. I love the way that Raven Johnson has started to really take those open threes. I mean, this is a player that was challenged 2 years ago in the Final Four. They came back and won a national championship, and a year ago, Dawn Staley challenged her again. Thought that she celebrated that national championship a little bit too long. Has been the heart and soul. 141 wins at South Carolina for Raven Johnson.
Raven Johnson, from 2017, her high school career to now, Dawn Staley will tell you, Raven Johnson has lost 14 basketball games in that time.
She's a winner.
Edwards took it back from an unsuspecting Kara Dunn. Edwards, kick out, Tessa Johnson. No. And the rebound secured by Laura Williams.
Really taking ownership and putting it on her shoulders right now. Playing with the ball in her hands, attacking the rim.
And Southern Cal